Introduction: 4 harmful behaviors that have the potential to cause others to lose respect for you. Innocuous peculiarities. These are actions that have the potential to greatly harm your relationships and reputation. You may be thinking, come on, everyone has bad habits. And you're right. But the bad habits we are talking about today are especially damaging because they affect our basic social interactions and have the power to quickly ruin a promising friendship or business relationship. I will talk about a few of my personal experiences. I promise you that I've learned a lot from my many blunders along the way. These are a little candid and raw, but I think that by discussing them, we may all learn from them and develop. By identifying and breaking these bad habits, we can begin to live honorable and respectful lives. We'll be relying on the Stoic philosophy, an age-old way of thinking that gives classic guidance on leading a moral and happy life. Stoicism is about more than just bearing adversity with a stiff upper lip. Grab a cup of coffee. It's about developing inner calm, integrity, and resilience. Ready to get in? Take a seat back and let's get started. First habit: gossiping. Let's face it, gossiping is a serious problem. Habit 1: gossiping. Gossiping is a habit that almost everyone has, but that no one wants to admit to. When I was in college, gossiping was almost a sport. My friends and I would sit around for hours discussing every little detail of other people's lives, and at first it felt harmless, even fun, as it made us feel connected, like we were in on some ex-only secret. However, gossiping is a toxic habit that can destroy trust and respect. Here's a story I'm not proud of. There was this girl in our group, let's call her Emily. She was a bit different. When I learned that she had a crush on a guy who was, to put it mildly, completely out of her league, I decided not to keep it to myself. Instead, I told my friends about it, and the rumor quickly spread. Quirky and introverted weren't always a good mix. Emily quickly discovered what we had been talking about, and when she realized that her feelings had become a joke, the look on her face was heartbreaking. She stopped coming around, and eventually she left the group completely. At the time, I laughed it off, but I knew deep down that I had crossed a line. The Stoics, such as Epictetus, encourage us to put our attention on developing our own character rather than interfering in other people's affairs. When you gossip, you're not only squandering time, you're poisoning others. The trust. Well, keep quiet most of the time, speaking just briefly when necessary. Epictetus: gossip damages credibility. When you gossip about someone, they begin to worry what you've said about them behind their backs, which breeds suspicion and disloyalty. I discovered this the hard way when my own words turned against me. Another incident occurred at my first job. I had a co-worker, John, who was very industrious but a bit of a loner. One day I learned through rumors that John had a pretty serious health issue. Thinking it would make for an interesting conversation, I told a few colleagues. John found out, of course, and confronted me, not angrily but with a look of deep hurt and disappointment. He told me that he had trusted me with that information, thinking I would be discreet. From that day on, our working relationship was never the same. I had lost his respect and trust, and it was all my fault. This experience taught me a crucial lesson. Respect other people's privacy. Everyone has struggles and vulnerabilities. Habit 2: being unreliable in conversation. You show a lack of integrity in yourself and show disrespect for them. The Stoics advocated for positive and constructive conversations rather than gossip. They believed that if someone is willing to gossip about you, they will also likely gossip about you. Habit number 2 is being unreliable. This habit affects a lot of people and seriously erodes respect, because it is the foundation of any relationship, personal or professional. If people can't rely on you, they will quickly lose respect for you. I can relate to this because in my early 20s, I was known among my friends as the flaky one who would cancel last minute or simply fail to show up. I dismissed these behaviors as unimportant because life was busy. My close friend Sarah was throwing a birthday party, and she had spent weeks planning every little detail I promised her that I would attend. But on the day of the party, I ended up having other plans. I didn't even bother to inform her until hours after the event had begun, and when I finally called her, I could hear the disappointment in her voice. She didn't say much, but I knew that I had let her down, and our friendship never was the same after that. Being unreliable sends the message to others that you don't mean what you say. If you promise to do something, follow through on it. If you agree to take on a project, don't hesitate to miss deadlines. This is an example from my early professional career. My boss wasn't amused when I did this during a performance review. She told me straightforwardly that while your work is good when you complete it, your lack of reliability is a problem. People don't know if they can count on you. It was a harsh wake-up call. How can we first address this? When you commit to anything, you're putting your reputation on the line, and every time you back out, you erode the trust others have in you. Reliability isn't just about showing up, it's also about consistency and integrity. Recognize your limitations and don't overcommit while making promises to yourself. Hold on to it. Being dependable gains you the respect and trust of those around you. It's an easy yet effective method to fortify your bonds and develop relationships. Communicate proactively if anything comes up and you can't follow through. Next, part 3. Consistency is key to power effectiveness. Power works best when it is a big, steady why. Varys's request was disregarded was the reason he left the room so quickly, was lived a lifestyle of violence and manipulation. He insisted on being untrue. Regarding the paternity of Rainier's children, ignored his final 3 kids, even when Aemon became blind, and continuously did you state that he threatened those around him. It regards. I'm not sure what you mean by you'll use your grace to address me, or I'll have God my king remove your tongue, and let it not be body is aware of the closest songs ought to be taken out for electricity and vulnerability to influence those around you. It cannot be a one-time event, so don't use this as a means of convince people right away to don't. Fourth, don't act as though your demands are requests. Instead, act as though they are implies that if you inquire of someone for something incredibly endearing, followed by fury when you are not given the desired response, you are not adhering to this regulation. Cole Christon is the ideal illustration of this. He asks to be with Rainier as she approaches him in a somewhat exposed moment. I'm requesting that you, and within their source, however, Vernier aggressively rejects him when he undermines her kids' education, irritates her new partner, and subsequently, instead of crowning her half-brother king, her beneath the surface of his fragility, request was both a threat and a demand that is forceful and causes resentment. That you observe surpassing Christon in sequence, how to make requests and demands more understandable, not to conflate our wishes with demands. Last tip that may be useful is to acknowledge that whenever you are consuming oneself with the behavior of others or demand that it go a specific direction, your giving up control can lead to this. With the interviewer expecting you to receive a job offer in the hopes that they might even date a member of your family. Wishing they could comprehend you. In those cases, we become fixated since we feel that someone else possesses the key to our contentment, and it's true that the actions of others can harm or benefit you to feel good about yourself. But the real is that a lot of the feelings we believe, the harm that other people do to us really comes from the manner in which we handle ourselves when set off by the actions of others. For example, approval or rejection. Christon was right to be heartbroken, shattered due to Vernier's rejection, but what made the hurt even worse was the narrative he shared of how he had Nothing remained, since it contains a piece of your king's god. A vow of chastity, I broke it. Noticed that my white cloak is the only one, something I own under the name Christian. Like a lot of us, were unable to sense who he was. If it didn't comply with his society due to Western tradition, declared that he lacked honor, and quit sensing the dignity that was present in his, and might have persisted in his actions. Since his ego claimed that he possessed nothing to his name, he disregarded all of the amazing things that life has to offer for him, such as the uncomplicated delight of the wind blowing in his face as he traveled the ocean, or simply having an awesome, fantastic hair. Congratulations, Sir Crispin. Kristin Cole. That wasn't Crispin. Prince, I apologize. I was unable to remember, however, that this is the basis of strength. It's not that I have amazing hair, but it's the understanding of everything you presently possess and are, while force and manipulation think that other individuals must take specific actions in order to be all right. Power acknowledges that others can only make you forget how acceptable. When you take a deep breath, you breathe, sense your pulse, and locate your power. You'll understand that being rejection does not imply lack of love. Mistreatment does not define who you are. Worthy of being omitted from a membership in a group does not imply loneliness. Furthermore, acceptance does not imply the contrary to all of this, from a position of power that you'll ultimately care less about forcing others to act in a certain manner, more about how you choose to express yourself when you truly cease wanting others to perceive you in a manner that fulfills them, and similar to Viserys, which you actually need. I want you to come see me. I am finding the confidence to do that. Fulfill your personal wants. Confront them face to face, and so demonstrate who you really are, the only method to earn respect from others. Everything else is merely secondary to who you are. Those fearing or appreciating your facade, and even though not everyone will kindly react to the real you, the folks who don't appreciate you will eventually exclude themselves, resulting in room for those who do, and eventually both. Your experiences, both internal and external, become encouraging your enjoyment, which is the core of power. Even though it might seem quite unpleasant initially, it might turn into the easiest way to live after you get proficient with it. And if how to swiftly gain social influence, you want more advice regarding gaining social power. Swiftly you like to look into our course. Charm University is a methodical curriculum for taking enormous steps in your charisma and self-assurance in under 30 days ahead of schedule, more than 14,000 viewers. Now that you've signed up, here are only a select few must state. My biggest breakthrough has been increasing in assurance. If you had known me a year earlier, you might observe a shy man, yet that same person, I secretly felt confident in the recently unveiled charisma. If you're listening to this or reading this, think about who you want to be right now. This course will teach you how to, in a year, to be the one that another young man made use of, citing the YouTube video. It is in his school. The classes are good, however the videos are incredible. Since I initially began, I've met a great deal of new folks, and their pals have had so many chances revealed themselves to me. I've been asked to attend, so several hangouts, and it's been incredible. And lastly, your training has been life-altering to the extent that I wake up mornings feeling as though I've been moved to another person's body, the one I could not stop fantasizing about before I discovered charisma on authority. It's amazing I discovered who I was, and I've discovered what brings me joy. You can view more remarks similar to those if you choose to enroll in the training in the comments section below the videos. If you therefore, there's a complete 60-day money-back guarantee. Promise for any cause, meaning that you possess ample time to review learn everything there is to see a change in your life, followed by determine whether it was worthwhile. If not, you get a reimbursement. So please consider joining. Click the link currently on the screen or in the summary that we've had below. Thousands of introverted men and women extroverts benefit greatly from this course, and it would be wonderful if you could the same. I hope you choose to participate, but in any case, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'm excited to watch you in the subsequent one.